Welcome back to Limitless Sports with Brennan and Dave. We're back after another 2-week hiatus. I had a issue last weekend, so we had to postpone our recording, but we're back today in studio and ready to roll. So, if you are listening today, we're going to go through a lot of big topics and go through a lot of cool things for you and try to hit a lot of free agencies, but
definitely going to go over the hour mark today.
It's going to be a long one since we missed last week. But I hope you're ready to listen. I hope you're sitting down with a nice drink in your hand, coffee, or whatever your pleasure is. Get a nice snack, and let's get to the show. So, Brennan, free agency, off to an amazing start. I think it's one of the craziest ever.
It's not one of the most. It is the craziest ever, you know?
I agree.
Guys flip-flopping. I've never seen so much draft capital be traded in, 2 weeks than I have this year. You know, big trades happening, big signings happening, some superstar teams starting to develop. We have a lot of topics to talk about today for the NFL.
So let's jump in with our local Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not going to lie, it's not been a bad free agency for us.
We aren't used to seeing this.
No.
You know, this team usually has
one or two.
$15 million to spend. You can sign two guys with that. You need about 10 for the rookie draft. $10 million to spend. So, you know, they had about 30. You know, they could still cut Stephon to it, and they could move for somebody else. I don't see that happening.
But I did hear Stephon's been in the weight room and been in the facility lately.
So I don't think that's going to happen. A lot of people are pushing for a safety to come in. They have about $5 million they can spend right now. I think a reunion on a 1 or 2 year deal with Terrell Edmonds is likely.
I want to talk about that more after we get into it.
Because there's rumors for you know who.
I like the other person, hopefully. But
I think everyone likes the other person more, me and you included.
Let's break down. Let's go offensive first and defensive second. And we're going to talk more about the players that we acquired, not the players that left us. And we'll talk about the players that left us after this segment.
Yeah.
So, Mitchell Trubisky. Let's start right at the quarterback position. Is he a stopgap, or is he a permanent replacement in Big Ben?
I think you're going to find that out in the next 2 years. I wasn't thrilled, but I wasn't mad about the signing.
Agreed.
I don't think Rudolph or Haskins is the answer. I think you'll agree with that. I think these three guys right now are all bridge quarterbacks as of right now. You know, you don't know who's going to be the starter week one. You know, it could be Haskins, it could be Trubisky, it could be Rudolph. You know, they have another young guy on the practice squad, still Josh Dobbs, who I think is just going to be the quarterback's coach eventually.
I don't think he stays.
No, I think he's going to be a quarterback's coach. I think they're going to say, hey, do you want to be a quarterback's coach, even though he's an aerospace engineer.
Right.
But, so I think we're going to find that out over the next 2 years. If Trubisky plays well this season, gets them right around 500.
That's a win.
That's a personal win, a moral victory for Pittsburgh.
I mean, he was successful in Chicago. He went to he took him to divisional round that year?
No, he lost to Philadelphia. Remember the double doink?
Oh, that's right. And then, honestly,
what did they have? That was a defensive stack team. You had Khalil Mack, Adrian Amos.
But look at our team. We are a defensive-oriented team.
But look at we still have playmakers on offense. Chicago didn't have a running back.
No, they didn't have.
You know, we have a running back that can tote the ball 300 times.
Right.
You know, we have Deontay Johnson still, Chase Claypool, Pat Fryermuth still in here.
And I do like the fact that he did go to Buffalo and work behind Josh Allen, and they had quality coaches there that could know him a little bit. We'll see what he brings. I think it's an upgrade from Mason Rudolph. It was the realistic pick. We weren't going to get the Aaron Rodgers, the Russell Wilson, the Sean Watson. We weren't going to get it.
No, the reasonable trade I kept telling people, keep your eye on, was Jimmy Garoppolo. That was reasonable. Give up a third-round selection, maybe give up Chase Claypool in that trade, and you know you might have Jimmy G, a guy who's been there, done that, won some Super Bowl rings as his backup, but
he's still in San Francisco, right?
He's still in San Francisco as of right now. I think that's a draft day trade.
100%.
But
all right, so that's the quarterback spot. You know, running back, nothing because Najee's holding it down. Receiver, we have not done anything yet. I have a feeling it's going to be a draft capital spot. We
did sign a receiver, but he's more of a special teams player.
He is. That's what Gunnar. What's his last name?
Olwinski, I think. He played in New England.
I'm scrolling through my notes right now as we're. Olazlowski or whatever. Looks like a true Bill Belichick receiver, though.
I think he's 5'10" and white. Yeah, he's a Bill Belichick receiver.
So, I mean, and I like...
He's a special teamer, but, I mean, he can catch and hold onto the football. This is the Matt Canada effect, I think, bringing in guys that fit...
I don't mind the signing.
The build, fit the system. 2-year deal. I mean, if he works out, he works out. If not, they can cut him after 1 year.
Yep.
That's what I like about a lot of these signings this year. A lot of these guys were 2-year deals, maybe 3-year deals, and you can cut them after the first season.
So, the one spot that I didn't think about, we haven't talked about this pre-show, was who's going to anchor tight end number 2?
I think maybe that's round 2 of free agency after the draft, if they have some money left.
Yeah, because I mean...
Maybe bring in somebody.
Because Eric Ebron's not coming back right now.
No. And he thinks he's still a tight end 1, even though he can't hold on to the football.
Who's our current tight end 2?
Be Zach Gentry.
Which was... he
came up with some big catches last year and some big moments. I think he had a touchdown or 2 during the year. I'm expecting a lot out of Pat Freiermuth this year. I think we both are. We watched him a lot playing at Penn State. Money in the red zone. Doesn't drop many.
Nope.
But we have to see what the quarterback situation is like first.
So let's talk about... I think the biggest thing they did was improve the offensive line. 100%.
They brought in... They re-signed Chooks, which I'm still critical on, I got into it with a few people about it, saying he only gave up 3 sacks. He had 11 penalties.
He did.
That's 14 mistakes a year. That's a mistake a game almost. You can't be doing that.
No.
That ends a touchdown. That turns a touchdown drive into a field goal drive.
But you have to think about the amount of teams that we played this year that had quality pass rushers. I mean, you're playing Cleveland with Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney.
I heard Clowney's supposed to be working on a deal with Cleveland.
Is he really still?
That's what I heard. Who knows what's going to happen? They're probably going to wait till post-draft to do something.
So my question is, so you look, we signed 2 interior linemen. Mason Cole, center out of Minnesota that can play guard and center, right?
Yes.
And then we signed, who was the other guard we signed?
We signed James Daniels from Chicago.
James Daniels from Chicago.
Big guy.
Big guy. So my question is, of the 3, between Cole, Daniels, and Kendrick Green, who's sitting on the outside next year?
I think Cole's going to be your starting center, and I think Green and Daniels are going to be your guards. You wasted, a 3rd-round pick on Green?
But then what's Kevin Dotson doing? Sit on the bench?
Got to quit being hurt all the time.
I guess. I mean, that is a big issue next year with having him being hurt, but...
but I mean, really, I think if we're getting rid of the injury-prone, injury effect, I think it's going to be Cole, Dotson, and Daniels. And I think Green's going to be a rotation guy.
I could see that.
But you know what? Roethlisberger said it last year. It was like week 15 or 16. Get Green out of freaking center and put him at guard. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? He's going to do a lot more damage at guard than he's going to do at center.
Well, and then you look at the depth-wise. If we bring back Hassenauer, you've got a true backup center in Hassenauer. He wasn't bad last year.
No.
My issue is them not re-signing Zach Banner.
Well, they cut him.
Right.
Well, they cut him because I guess he went on some big podcast or some radio show. He just started running his mouth and...
Well, but I'm just
saying,
saying,
was like, hey, that's not what we do here.
What about the depth though? That's my
depth. I mean, I think in the draft you're going to see some guys, some offensive linemen be drafted.
We're going to have to pick up a tackle, guaranteed.
I'm thinking 2nd round tackle. If one doesn't follow us in the 1st round, which I don't know if they will.
Right.
There's some other teams with some big tackle issues ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite tackle in this draft is Charles Cross. He's going to be a top 10 selection.
Correct.
But
so there's the offensive side of things, though. We covered most of the offensive signings. I'm more happy.
We signed two defensive guys, and I like them both.
I agree. So, talking about defensive line was just some re-signings of players we had. Montravius Adams came back. Quality depth piece.
A lot of people forget Tyson Alualu is going to be back this year.
Correct.
And you know what? He was a big part of the defense a few years ago. He shattered his ankle, early in the season? It was like 2 or 3. But,
and I do, when we finish this free agency talk, I want each of us to predict what position we're going to go after in the 1st round, because I think it depends on a lot of things. However, so I think one of my favorite signings so far, and I'm still holding out for one more, is the signing of Miles Jack.
I like the signing of Miles Jack. He's familiar with playing on Heinz Field. Picked off Ben for a pick 6 in that playoff game.
Yep.
I think he picked him off a second time in that game. We haven't had steady inside linebacker play since Ryan Shazier.
And I like this signing because even though he's a younger player, he's got some experience that he can mold Devin Bush. And Devin can really focus on being the rush linebacker and not the coverage linebacker.
I know. That's the only thing that can I looked at when they signed Miles Jack and let Schoberg go is the production was about the same from them.
Oh, because they did play together.
Yeah, the amount of tackles and stuff like that. It was close to the same. But hopefully Miles Jack can, find his footing and, Brian Flores can get him back to what he used to be.
And that's why I do like that signing for Brian Flores.
I like Levi Wallace a lot. I know we're going to get into him right now. Reunites him with his best friend and college roommate, Minka Fitzpatrick.
I forgot about that, yeah.
They both played at Alabama. Yep. So, I like that. I think it helps out with the corner depth a lot.
I think he's still starting game 1, though.
I think so, too.
Across from Sutton.
The thing that worries me, the Steelers don't have a true number 1 corner.
He almost has to be it.
He almost has to be it, but we also thought Stevie Nelson was going to be it, too, and look where he is now.
I think that was the stupidest thing to let him go last year.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, those two signings on the defensive side of the ball, they clear up some of the biggest holes we had last year.
Yeah.
Keeping with TJ coming back and with Highsmith coming back on the other side, we got the rest of our corners back other than Joe Hayden.
Yeah.
Our depth is
He's
back.
still out there. It might be post-draft. They don't get a corner they like early. And they could say, hey, you're not getting any phone calls. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Are you going to hang it up or are you going to come play 1 for 1 year for $3 million?
That depends on what are we doing on the strong safety front. Is Terrell Edmonds going to come back because he has nobody calling him yet? Or is the Honey Badger going to make its way to Pittsburgh?
I don't think it's going to be... As much as I want it to be the Honey Badger, I'm going to be more practical about it. It's not going to be the Honey Badger.
My crazy point of this is, we are one of the 3 teams supposedly in the hunt for him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I want to say the Raiders were one of them, and they already pulled out. What is going on? Are we not giving enough money? Are we not, why has that not been made yet? We clearly have the position for him.
So as of right now, the Steelers have a little bit over $15 million in cap space. They have 15.3. So you need about $10 million left open for your rookie class. So you have $5.5 million almost open. He's not going to come here and play for $5.5 million for 1 year. It's not going to happen. Yeah. If it was 1 year, $10 million, he might say, hell with them, I'm going to come play in Pittsburgh. Get my market up even higher for next year.
But he also could sign a 2-year deal where...
All the money's next year.
Where
Could
we have
that,
more opening because Ben's contract will be officially off next year. Right? Because we have more...
He has voidable years left.
Who?
Ben.
That's what I'm saying. But this year is the last year we're paying him.
Yes.
Currently. So 2023, we should have more free agency money out there.
But here's the thing. We talk about
Minka.
Stephon Tuitt. They need an answer. Is he going to be there? Because they cut him. That gets them back up to $23.5 million. That gets the Honey Badger in here. That gives you about $10-12 million open for your rookie draft class.
All right, so let's get on that front. In my opinion, I think that's the smartest move to do.
Cut to it.
Mm-hmm. Here's why. Either you cut him or you trade him.
Mm-hmm.
You can trade him, you can get a second or third round pick for him. Probably. Which gives us a little bit more draft capital to trade up and go get Jordan Davis with our first round pick. Then you're saving money by cutting to it that you have more money to sign Matthew. In the long run, Jordan Davis is going to be a better player than Tuitt, and you put him right alongside Hayward. And we talked about this before, we don't run a traditional 3-4 anymore.
Nope.
We don't. We run a 4-2-5.
Tomlin's bringing that Tampa 2 he had down in Tampa and Minnesota for all those years.
Which we only need 2 interior linemen. If Alualu's back, he's opposite of Hayward. Jordan Davis comes in, he's opposite of Hayward. We don't need Stephon-Tuitt. I mean, we really didn't get burned that much last year up the middle.
No, not too
I think we got burned more from the linebacker play because they wouldn't step up into the hole and hit him.
Well, let's bring into this for a minute. Baltimore didn't have any of their running backs last year. They didn't have one.
No.
You know, they're going to get Dobbs back this year, and they're going to get Gus Edwards back. You know, Nick Chubb's still in the division. Kareem Hunt's still in the division. You have Joe Mixon and Small JP riding in Cincinnati. So, I mean, you had guys that were hurt all year. I mean, you know, we only faced Chubb once last year.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't see Dobbins at all.
No.
So, I mean, who knows how bad it could have been, you know, if we would have saw any of those guys.
I also, and I don't watch enough film, and I really want to look into this more, like, do we play more to the strength of keeping Hayward and Watt on the same side of the ball moving forward, or do they always have to be opposite?
I think you try to keep them opposite. I mean, mind you, Cam Hayward's a defensive tackle / defensive end if need be. I really want to think the Steelers want to see what they have in Highsmith this year. Can he create as much pressure as Bud Dupree used to off the opposite side? You know, if you have that, you really have something on defense.
And I honestly think, and I'm not trying to be like it's Jordan Davis or bust, but Jordan Davis and Cam Hayward are a very identical player. They both can move. I mean, Jordan Davis is bigger.
Well, yeah.
But they both can move. Tyson Alualu can't move. He's a traditional nose tackle. Stephon-Tuitt could move prior to the injury. What's he like right now, we don't know. But that stems into, who do you think we're going with first round?
From what has been done, you know, they brought in Levi Wallace. I'm thinking first round it's going to be a corner or safety. Dead set on it. They brought in back some defensive linemen that can rotate in. You get Alu back. They have Tuitt saying he is playing this year.
If Tuitt's there, then yes, we're not going after Jordan Davis. But then, so if you're saying corner safety, does that mean we're not signing Edmonds back?
I'm going to say yeah. I think they're going to try to save that $5 million because, like, let's think about this for a second. How many times do we get into training camp? It's the second full week of camp. They're really getting into it. They're, you know, heat acclimation's over, and players go down. You know, you play one preseason game, players are going down. You want to have a little bit of money to spend and say, hey, you know, I know you've been working out all summer or whatever, but we need you here. Like,
yeah,
you know, do you want to sign? And then you have people coming in, you know, in during the preseason, you know, players finding homes that have been sitting all summer and all spring. So I'm going to say no. I'd like to see Edmonds come back because you know what you have, but, you know, he's potentially going to kill you in a game.
Well, so this mock draft by Daniel Jeremiah, NFL writer, media analyst, he has them going your route, taking corner out of LSU, Derek Stingley Jr.
Wow, all the way down to 20? Mm-hmm. That he's not making it out of the top 15. Unless something really weird happens, but
his drafts are just weird. I mean, he's got this edge rusher from Georgia going number 2 overall and beating out Kayvon Thibodeau. Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati going 4. I don't really like this one. I don't think this one's a good one.
No, you have to go Kuiper or McShay.
It's hard to find on my computer right now. I'm having a little bit of issues this morning. Let's see. Nope. Nope.
No, but we don't even know what Jackson's going to do on. Who knows? Jacksonville said they're open to trading the first pick.
Yeah, I saw that. Here's one. It's a little bit better. This is more realistic. This one has us going Jordan Davis. I don't mind. I hate that I'm going to say this. I don't mind Daxton Hill out of Michigan either. As a safety product.
No, I don't.
So, in my opinion, though,
I like seeing Big Ten guys on the team, and that makes us look a lot better as a conference.
In my opinion, do you think then we're going secondary first round, receiver second round?
I think it's going to be either a corner or safety, or receiver. I could even see him going receiver first round. If Olave or Dotson's sitting there at 20, when a lot of receiver needy teams are there, you're kind of like rubbing your hands together like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, like, oh, which one of these guys are we going to take?
I would jump for joy to take Olave first round.
I mean, I like Dotson a lot because he's built like Hill, and he doesn't drop often.
But you also think
that's what I want to see the Chiefs take him.
Like, if we're sitting here talking more about it, do you really want Olave to come in or Dotson to come in as your number 3? I
don't think they are. I think they're automatic 1.
And that's what I mean.
Deontay Johnson can't hold on to the freaking football. He's going to have a hard time getting a second contract with either the Steelers or whoever it's going to be because he can't hold on to the football.
The one thing I do not like is like the whole media hype about Malik Willis and Mike Tomlin taking him out to dinner, eating chicken wings, and like we're not taking a quarterback. We're not. I do not see it happening. Why would you say Mr.
Two quarterbacks I'd want out of this class, and neither one of them are Malik Willis. I'd take Kenny Pickett. Mm-hmm. I'd take Matt Corral. I think you can work with Matt Corral for a year or two. Let him ride behind Trubisky or Rudolph or whoever the hell's going to be the starter.
That's the thing, though, is like, why would you spend this money on Trubisky and not let him start?
And you know what? Like, let's even talk about Baker Mayfield for a minute. They're saying if Baker Mayfield gets cut, the Steelers are all over it.
Exactly. Baker Mayfield over that.
I mean, how pissed? That's like a kick in the teeth to Mitch Trubisky saying, "Hey,
that's what I mean. Like,
screw you and your pregnant wife."
It's the same thing. Even if we draft a quarterback, that's stupid. Absolutely stupid.
I mean, if they draft one, someone's getting cut, and it's not going to be Trubisky.
It's going to be Rudolph.
It has to be Rudolph,
right?
Mr. First Round grade.
I mean, when you're comparing, receivers, truthfully, in my opinion, we have to replace Juju.
We need a guy that's money.
And
a legit
is a possession receiver that can run routes.
A guy that's not afraid to go over the middle. A guy that's not afraid to go deep. A guy that's not afraid to do end arounds,
That's Chris Olave.
I mean, I've seen him do it all at Ohio State the past few years.
I mean, his drag route ability going across the middle, his deep threat ability is there. He used to return punts. He's a special teams player because he blocked the punt in the Michigan game a couple years ago. And now with the Raiders trading that pick
excuse me,
to the Packers, they're sitting at 22 right behind us. I mean, they're gonna be pushing for Olave. I know they are. Because
a lot of the drafts I've seen have Olave and Dotson going like right at the end of the first round. Like we're talking between 22 and 32.
And I don't think it's a stretch to pick either one of them at 20.
No, I think you have kind of the same player in both of those guys. I mean, Dotson return kicks and punts at Penn State.
Is Dotson a little bit smaller than Olave?
He's like 5'10".
Yeah, that's the only concern of mine.
But the guy can move. I mean, you've seen him play so many times, and you're like, damn, I wish that guy was on my team, But there's not anything wrong with taking a receiver.
No.
At 20.
I mean, I'm a big proponent of. I wish we would go get a bigger body receiver.
See, I like Drake London a lot.
I do too.
I like Treylon Burks a lot, but he
had a horrible combine, Burks. That's the thing. Like, when you look at the three that we have, I mean, you have Freiermuth, who's really not a tight end. He's really a stretch receiver.
He's ultimately, him and Gesicki are the new Gronk. They're built the same way. They move the same way. They're huge body guys.
So, like, in my opinion, what do you go after a 6'2", 6'3" receiver? Or do you go get the smaller guy like Olave, Wilson? I mean, Wilson's not going to be there, but still, like, what do you do?
I'd probably take the smaller guy. I mean, I know Deontay Johnson's only, 6 foot tall?
Not even.
Claypool's, 6'4"? But, I mean, he's going to be gone after not this season, the following season.
I don't know. I could see them keeping him.
He's such a diva. Tomlin doesn't like it.
But I wonder if he's a diva because of Juju. Like, with Juju gone,
I don't know. I think that's the kind of thing that's built into a receiver, a corner, a running back. They're divas. They want, look at me, just think if Claypool didn't pull his stupid shit in Minnesota, the Steelers win the division.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
We're not playing at Kansas City round 1.
No. I know. That's what's just interesting. I can see receiver, I can see corner, I can see safety, I can see defensive tackle. If they want to move on from to it. If they don't want to move on from to it, then we're going that route. So that is the Steelers free agency in a nutshell of who we acquired. So let's move on to 2 players we lost that, in my opinion, are big losses.
One of them is. I think the one isn't as much.
I think he should have been. I don't think we played him enough. But, so Juju takes a 1-year, $8 million deal?
I think it was like 10.75.
But there's some non-guaranteed money in that I heard he gets screwed on.
What do you call it? Incentives.
Yeah, it's like if they don't. But here's my frustration, and we're gonna kind of breed topics here. Juju signs that contract at the Kansas City. When he signed that contract, what number receiver was he in your mind in Kansas City?
Juju?
Yes.
2.
It's
the number 2. You were hyped. If you were a Juju fan like you and I are, you were hyped to see him go there. Because you're like, oh my God, like him and Hill, Kelsey,
right.
He's still going to get his 1,000 to 1,200 yards, maybe 5 to 8 touchdowns. Has a Hall of Fame quarterback already, throwing you the football.
I was pumped for him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about why he's not the number 2 anymore later. But I think it's... I understand why he left, but he should have left last year.
Yes.
He had a better contract last year. I just thought we could get a cheaper deal for him coming off the injury. I don't think Pittsburgh made it a priority. Apparently they didn't. If you heard of his mom, his mom said, we told him, move on, you're not coming back for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what hurt us in the money aspect was if he showed a lot of heart and guts coming back for that playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't come back for that playoff game, I don't think he gets $10 million in a year.
No, I think he'd be a Pittsburgh Steeler if he didn't play.
I agree.
I think he'd take the same deal 1 year, $8 million, $9 million, whatever it was.
I mean, you knew he was out when he was talking about like the trip down to Dallas. You knew he wasn't coming back. It's sad. I mean, I have a Juju jersey. I loved him as a receiver. He was a great kid. But we got to move on. That leads me to my next topic, though. James Washington leaving for Dallas.
Dallas, they traded Amari Cooper for nothing. That was a cap dump, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They lose Cedric Wilson to Miami. He signed a multi-year deal down there.
So with the number 1 CeeDee Lamb.
They have Lamb, Michael Gallup, who's coming off an ACL injury, who I like. I like Michael Gallup a lot. I think he's a good receiver. And then they have James Washington now.
So James Washington's going to be the 3 there, which is not a bad setup for him.
No. But to get into James Washington, I didn't like that pick when they made it.
I didn't either.
I had a couple, friends that are Big 12 guys that went to West Virginia that, like that high-flying, first to 50 points wins a game.
Right.
It's like, oh, man, James Washington to the Steelers. You had Antonio freaking Brown. You had Juju Smith-Schuster. You had other guys still on the team that were ahead of him. James Washington was the number 4 receiver on the team.
Who was the 3 at that point? Deontay? Or is he not there yet?
I don't think he was there yet. I think that came... I can't even remember. But he was the 3 or the 4 and didn't receive a lot of playing time. There was still Ryan Switzer on the team, which Ben was trying to force him into games, and they did.
Yeah.
And, James Washington, when he had his opportunities, when Juju was hurt, when AB was taking a game off, getting ready for the playoffs, he had his chances to perform and would drop passes.
Right.
I always called him Mr. August, because you know what? He'd have hell of a preseason, he'd have hell of a camp, and then when it came game time, when someone was taking a game off or someone was banged up for a week or two, he'd lay an egg.
What I don't understand is, he always would have a phenomenal game when Rudolph was the quarterback.
College roommates, best friends.
But he never could produce with anybody else.
No.
Never.
It's like him and Roethlisberger were never on the same page. Him and Dobbs were never on the same page.
And I just never saw him more than a deep threat. That's all he could do.
And you know what? We had a guy like that at one point. His name was Mike Wallace.
Where's he at now?
And he bounced around the league a little, but he still made money. He signed a multi-year deal with Miami. Then he went to Minnesota for a few years, had some money-making years up there. And then he went to Baltimore for a year, and then we never heard from him again.
Right. So there's a little bit of a small recap of who we lost in free agency. Those are just the two big ones, but let's go ahead and move on to, we have about 6 big movements we're going to talk about. Let's first start with Matty Ice.
Another quarterback move,
which I wasn't
we thought the trades were done happening for quarterbacks.
I agree.
I thought, we thought Matt Ryan was safe in Atlanta for 1 or 2 more years. He still has 2 or 3 good more years left in the tank, maybe even a 4th.
But I really like this trade.
Everyone won on this trade.
And I'm seeing this of why was this never a conversation piece with the Steelers? You couldn't give up a 3rd-round pick for Matt Ryan? Are you kidding me? Stupid.
I think it was Matt Ryan's cap hit. He's one of the higher paid quarterbacks this year, maybe.
I guess.
So that's probably what sticks out in my mind anyway. But they give up a 3rd-round pick. Indianapolis does. Indianapolis is in a win-now mode. Indianapolis is going to win that division this year now. They have a steady quarterback. The defense is pretty much all coming back. Offensive line solid. Jonathan Taylor's still in town. You have Michael Pittman Jr. still. You have T.Y. Hilton.
Paris Campbell's the number 3. I do like them. I mean, it's the question mark is Derrick Henry healthy.
Tannehill. The question mark to me is Tannehill.
Yeah.
What did he throw this year? 15 touchdowns and 13 interceptions?
Julio Jones isn't coming back.
Julio Jones got cut. There's rumors of him going to Tampa Bay. So they can reload this year.
Yeah.
Even though all the Tom Brady rumors the past 24 to 48 hours, which is all smoke from what I've heard.
About Miami.
Well, and Skip Bayless said it, where there's smoke, there's fire. He's out of contract with Tampa Bay after this year. I could see him signing a 1-year deal with Miami, but after this year. But I don't think he's that kind of person to jump from team to team.
No.
But,
I mean, and I truly do like this acquiring for Indy. I think Matt Ryan, like you said, has a couple of years left. I think he really could to develop nicely in Indianapolis. It's not a change for him. He's playing in a dome. 8 or 9 games out of 17.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you're playing away at Houston, which is
in a dome. Jacksonville, it's warm. Tennessee, it's not bad.
I think it's a win-win.
It's a win. Like I said, I like Indianapolis a lot this year now. I think they're going to come out of the South as the champion.
Mm-hmm. So let's
Tennessee, too many question marks, but
let's go to a former Tennessee Titan that is now going to be Matt Ryan's replacement, and that's Marcus Mariota, Atlanta.
Yep, reunites with Arthur Smith. I know a guy I work with is an Atlanta Falcons fan primarily. The second team to the Steelers, but he's not happy about it.
Why not?
He's not happy about it. I mean, Marcus Mariota's numbers have never been there. He's never lived up to that number 2 overall pick.
No, he never did.
Everyone thought he'd be the guy still leading the Tennessee Titans, for years to come. But it's not a bad signing if you're looking for a bridge quarterback. I think a lot of these teams are looking for bridge quarterbacks because nobody wants to take a chance on these guys this year in the draft.
No, because you look at next year's draft and it's Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. You got players coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Players.
Yep.
I mean, my question mark to you is Marcus Mariota the day 1 starter, or are they still going to draft a quarterback?
I don't know. I think he's going to be the day 1 starter.
I agree.
I think they might draft the guy on day 2 or day 3.
Yeah. Let's finish our next quarterback signing, and then I do want to jump into, like you said, nobody wants to take a chance on these quarterbacks. Somebody has to. And I want to pick a couple locations. We tried to do this a couple weeks ago.
We didn't even get into we didn't even get into the Deshaun Watson yet.
No, we're gonna get there. But so Jameis Winston signs back with New Orleans. I think it was a great signing for him. Great signing for New Orleans to give him another chance.
I've never been a Winston guy.
Me either, ever since the crab leg story.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him that year at Florida State, national championship, they beat Auburn. Good signing for him. I think he was 5-2 as a starter, 5-3 as a starter.
Uh-huh.
Had a nice touchdown to interception ratio. But I've never been a Jameis Winston guy. I think he's a bridge quarterback for them. They lose Sean Payton. They cut Armstead, their big tackle. The protection goes down a little bit.
And is Michael Thomas a free agent, or is he wanting out?
I don't know.
I heard he doesn't.
Hurt.
I heard he doesn't want to come back.
I mean, good luck trading him with that contract I gave him.
Oh, I know.
Good luck. We'll get into receiver talk a little bit here a little bit later.
Well, let's continue with this quarterback talk, though, of like, okay, so all this quarterback movement.
Yep.
And in my opinion, you've got 4 quarterbacks coming out of this draft that are playable quarterbacks. 2 should be, in my mind, automatic starters.
Willis and Pickett.
2 are backups, Corral and Howell. Where are they going? Carolina's taking one of them.
I think so. I think so. I really like Carolina taking a tackle first round. Maybe going Howell round 2.
Yeah.
But
Carolina's taking a quarterback somewhere.
There's so many teams in the quarterback. Houston can take a quarterback. They can trade down with that second first round pick they have. Take a chance on the guy.
Well, so now don't they have 2 first rounds? Where's the Cleveland picks? What, 20? No, is it before us?
Yeah, it's before us. So they didn't make the playoffs. It's like 14 or 15.
I'm gonna pull the draft order right now.
Yeah, Cleveland's picking like 14 or 15. And then Baltimore's picking right after them.
Yeah, 13. So they have 3
and 13. Okay.
They have 3 and 13.
I don't know. 3, I'd go either offensive tackle or Thibodeau. If he's still there, he should be still there.
I wouldn't be shocked to see the Lions trade down into the teens and take a quarterback.
I wouldn't either, but I think they're going to roll the dice with Jared Goff again this year.
I think they are too.
You know what you have? You have a game manager. I'm surprised if they were thinking quarterback, they didn't move him yet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can't start Howell Corral week 1. You just can't. I mean, you can, but the guy's going to be ruined.
They could pick up somebody They could pick up somebody in the second round and let them learn a little bit under Goff and then go next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Texans question mark. Carolina, I think, a definite quarterback situation there.
Giants can go quarterback.
No, they're not going to get rid of Daniel Jones yet.
They believe in Danny Dimes that much. The hell with that.
I'm just saying, though, like, again, another aspect of you think that they don't believe in him, they would have moved him.
Atlanta A could go quarterback.
But I don't think they would because of Mariota.
I don't think they will either now. Well, I'm saying teams that could, but they might not.
That's
Seattle. Seattle could go quarterback now.
Seattle could go quarterback. I see them going to 9 with Malik Willis, or depending on what happens there. But that's my frustration with the Steelers is like, do you view Mitchell Trubisky better than Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett? If you do, I understand it. But if you don't, like, they didn't have to jump so early on Trubisky. He probably would have still been there today. Like, after watching all this movement, they could have easily probably had one of them fell to them at 20. Because anybody from Houston's pick at 13 down, Ravens, no. Eagles, no. Eagles, no. Chargers, no. Saints, no. Eagles, no. Steelers. Like, if Pickett or Willis gets past 13, he falls to 20.
I mean, I could definitely... There's other teams in there I could see taking a quarterback. I could definitely... Like I said, I could see Atlanta going quarterback, Seattle, Carolina. I could still see the Giants going quarterback. I really don't care what people say.
The other team I could really surprise for this year, who has a chance to really make a move, are the Eagles.
Oh, they could. And I heard they're talking about trading 2 out of the 3 picks out of the first round.
Really?
Just to...
Get more?
Bulk up.
I wouldn't. Take 3 first-round pick players, put 3 new stars in your lineup.
They're picking at... Let's see here.
They've got...
15, 16, and 19. I could see them trading either 15 or 16, getting out of the first round, maybe getting a second-round pick and a third-round pick, and some more next year or something like that. Having 2 first-round picks, a couple second-round picks.
I would just take the chance of having all 3 first-round picks. I mean, when do you ever get a chance to have 3 guaranteed starters in your lineup picking in the day? I mean, you name 3 holes, you go get them right then. You know what I mean? I just, if I were them, but it's a very risky situation. Because if you don't hit on that, and you take those...
Well, here's the thing, too. You don't even know if you have a quarterback of the future. You have Jalen Hurts. He could be. He could not be. Yeah. I heard this is his audition year. Like, we're going to find out this year, are you the guy?
Right.
And, you know, you and I got to watch him a lot at Alabama. You know, we got to watch him for a year or two at Oklahoma. He's a college-style quarterback.
He's not going to survive this league.
No, he's not. Johnny Manziel, another one we saw a lot of, you know, that we both liked. College-style quarterback.
Yeah, he's not going to
Tim
survive.
Tebow, you know, from back when we were younger. College-style quarterback. These guys don't last. Jalen Hurts is another one of those guys.
I think next week, talking about this more draft capital-wise, I think I want to do a mock draft with you in studio during the podcast next week. Let's go just round one only. And we'll bounce it off each other and we'll go. Because there shouldn't be more free agency movement. That could be our NFL talking.
No, there shouldn't be a lot of free agency movement. Maybe some minor guys here and there.
We could do one next week, and then we could... I think we have, a week or two in between the drafts, the end of April, right? So then we could do another...
24th or something like that, I can't remember.
We could do another one the week before that.
I think it's right after Easter.
So... That kind of leads us into our receiver movement. 2 big receiver moves.
Let's start with this.
And I'm going to hold on. Before we get into the receiver one, do you want to finish the last quarterback movement? Because we didn't talk about it.
Oh.
Let's talk about it.
You know, when...
So, Cleveland trades for Deshaun Watson, gets 3 first-round picks. 22, 23, 24. And a 23 third, and a 24th fourth.
You know, when you make that trade, you already had an unhappy quarterback on the team because you brought in another guy.
He jumped before the rumors were even true. He was like, I want out.
So you think you'd make him a part of that package deal. Say, you know, we don't care what you say. You're going to Houston. I'm sorry about your luck. You know,
right.
They're in rebuilding mode for the next year or two. Out of all the teams to jump on him, to give up that much, Cleveland was the dumb enough one to do it. The guy can still play, I'm sure. Let's just get that out of the system. You know, we watched him for a long time at Clemson. We watched him at Houston. Guy's a baller. He's a good quarterback.
I'm not worried about his ability on the field.
I'm worried, is he even going to play this year?
Right. And is that why they're not moving Baker yet? And I heard that this morning. They're keeping Baker around because if he's... Some people think 4 games. Some people think 8. Some people think the whole year. If Baker's still there, I mean, you have him for those 4 games. You have them for whatever you need him to have. And
let's look at it this way. Let's just say it's 4 games.
Right.
Baker plays, throws 10 touchdowns in those 4 games, 3 interceptions. Has a nice amount of yardage. Hold on to him till the deadline. You're going to have a bidder who thinks, you know, we're almost there. You know, we're this guy away from making the playoffs. You're going to get a nice little haul.
Agreed.
Maybe recover some of that capital. Maybe get a second-round pick. I don't think someone's going to give you a first for Baker Mayfield. But my thing with Cleveland is, how can you give up on a guy so easy when he turns you all around? Got you to 500.
He was the reason.
Got you to the playoffs. Won you a playoff game. Should have beat the Chiefs.
I think they're kicking themselves because they wanted Watson originally and they didn't take him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm going to be honest with you, though. Say Watson's cleared and he plays. I'm scared. We easily could be number 4th in the division this year.
Should be. Could be.
Really could.
I mean, right now, if the season were to start right now, I'm not too worried about it. They don't have a number 1 wide receiver. You know,
you're not saying Amari Cooper's not a number 1 receiver?
No. I think he's too used to playing Robin the past few years in Dallas. You know, they bring in C.D. Lamb. You know, they had Dez Bryant for a year or 2.
I mean, you're right. They don't really have a lot of receiving talent around him.
They cut Austin Hooper, the number 1 tight end, but they tagged Njoku for some reason, who's been nothing but a short of a bust for them.
I saw that.
Offensive line's okay.
Well, but they lost its center. Treader. He's gone.
They still have Chubb, and they still have a Hunt. I heard one of them is, well, not one of them. I heard Hunt might be on the way out. Because he's tired of being number 2.
Why? Because you can't have 2 domestic abusers on the same team?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest, like, black eye to me is, like, I get it. I mean, he was, proved not guilty or whatever the sentence was or whatever, but it's still a black eye to the program and the franchise.
But here...
No matter where he would have went. I mean, any franchise would have been a minor black eye to start.
I mean, it was the same thing with Michael Vick, and then, he ended up righting some wrongs.
Right.
Works with the ASPCA all over America. Comes balls out for the Eagles, takes them to the playoffs. I'm happy, Watson's getting a second chance. I'm not happy it's in Cleveland. I think they jumped the gun too fast. I think they could have waited a little bit longer. I don't think Atlanta was giving up a boatload of picks like that. I don't think New Orleans was giving up a boatload of picks like that. I don't think Miami was giving up a boatload of picks like that. And I don't think Philadelphia was giving up a boatload of picks like that.
I'll give credit to Houston, though. I mean, they won.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're talking about a rebuild. They were talking about 3 to 5 years. It might be 2 to 4.
Deshaun won it out, and they got some quality picks.
King's ransom.
They really did. I mean, Cleveland will not have a first-round pick until 2025.
So who knows? He could come in week 1, blow out his knee against somebody. I don't think any of the teams were in on the sweepstakes were giving up a boatload of picks like that. There was about 5 or 6 teams in on it. Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta. Those were the big ones. Philadelphia was in on it. Miami was in on it. And then Cleveland. But, I mean, even on Watson's part, why the hell would you want to come to the AFC still?
Right. I mean, that's another quality quarterback.
Let's talk about quarterbacks for a minute. I'm just going to rattle them off. Justin Herbert.
So stay in the West.
Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yep. Then go to the South.
Derek Carr is okay.
Not a bad quarterback.
Let's go to the South. You have Matt Ryan now.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence is going to come into his own. He has a coach now. They have playmakers.
They did get some playmakers.
He's going to come into his own.
They should not be 4th in the division anymore.
No. Let's go to the North.
Joe
Burrow.
I mean, still, Tannehill's average, but toss another name in there. Go ahead.
Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson.
No. He's a running back.
You have to still say Lamar Jackson.
I guess so.
I mean...
Then you add Deshaun Watson to that.
Then you have Deshaun Watson.
And then
Josh Allen.
Hold on. The next year you're going to have C.J. Stroud when he becomes a Steeler.
Josh Allen.
Yep.
Mac Jones. Who knows what 2 is going to be?
Right.
And I'm not even going to say Zach Wilson because I think he's a bust already.
I mean, because Tua, now you have another receiver we're going to talk about later. I mean, why does anyone want to come to the AFC as a quarterback? I'd go to the NFC any day because, I mean, the East is wide open. I'm sorry, Dallas Cowboy fans, but you suck. The East is wide open. You're never going to win a playoff game.
Like Washington a lot in that division this year.
Right. I mean,
yep. You
got, in the South, Tampa's, who knows what they're going to do now that Tom's coming back. I mean, can they get all the players back? Who knows? I mean, you basically have one team, and it's the West. Because Green Bay's not going to be the team they were. I don't understand why.
You know what? I could see Minnesota win that division this year. In all honesty,
I could see that. I don't know. Maybe.
But look at the NFC. You have 2 solid teams that are going to be in it.
Right.
You have the Los Angeles Rams and you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why wouldn't you want to go to the NFC? Your chances are a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Rams still lost a lot of guys. They're supposedly bringing in Bobby Wagner for a visit, and there's a lot of mutual interest there. He wants to stay, and it kicks his ass.
I wanted Bobby Wagner, but I'm happy with Miles Jack.
Yeah, I'll settle on Miles Jack. Not as much money for that's for damn sure. But why? I mean, why would you want to come to the AFC? I don't think anyone's going to give up a boatload of picks like that in the NFC to get Deshaun Watson.
I think
you don't know what you're going to get.
Nope. All right, let's jump into our receiver talk. So let's stay in the AFC, and then we'll move. Well, they're both coming to the AFC, but Tyreek Hill, man.
Let's talk about this. When we were younger...
Did he request a trade, first of all?
I didn't get the full story on it, but remember, a few years back, if you had a possession receiver, you were golden. You had Antonio Brown. You had Julio Jones. You had Dez Bryant. Mm-hmm. You had OBJ. And a couple other names in there. So now you don't need that great receiver. You don't need it.
So let's break down the actual trade. So 5 draft picks, first round this year, the 29th pick, second round pick.
Pick 50.
Pick 50. Fourth round pick plus a 4th and a 6th next year. And they gave him a new contract. They gave him a 4-year, $120 million extension. including $72 million guaranteed, and also including $52 million at signing. Holy Toledo! Wow.
Yeah, I heard about the trade on what day did it happen? On Thursday. I heard it was down between the Wednesday. It was down between the Miami Dolphins and the New York Football Jets, and the Jets were only willing to give up a second-round pick. It was like a second, a third, and a couple other picks.
But why would you want to go to New York?
Let's look at it this way. At least in Miami, you're playing in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, I mean, you have Jalen Waddle you're playing against, and beside, I mean, there's some talent in the Miami's team.
I mean, you have Waddle, you have Gesicki. They don't have a true number one running back. They signed Raheem Mostert, I believe.
But they can go draft one, I mean.
Hell, they could trade for Barkley. They still have picks.
Right. They have all these picks now.
But,
I just...
And you give Kansas City all those picks, it's like you're feeding the best team in the AFC again. They're going to go out and get receivers. They're going to go out and get more playmakers.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they turn around those couple draft picks. I mean, it's 3 this year and 2 next year, but like next year's 4th might do something the 6th never does. So, I mean,
that's kind of just a deal sweetener,
right?
Saying we get an extra selection.
I'm very interested. Like, was Tyreek Hill did they put pressure on him because they signed Juju? I don't know.
I heard it's when he wanted a new contract or whatever, and
they said the money.
Said we're kind of going in another direction. I mean, like I said, that big name possession receiver was big, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Now you don't want a great wide receiver. You want some good wide receivers, If you have a great one that's good for you, look at the Rams this year.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp was not a household name.
No.
Came into his own. He's been in his own since he came into the league. The 2 of the top 3 receivers in the league got traded over the past week. Literally a week apart.
Yeah, and that's Devontae Adams going to the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, he wanted to go there, correct? That's where he's from, or is Derek Carr him playing college?
Yeah, Fresno State, remember?
Yeah.
College roommates, best friends. When they slapped the tag on Adams said, "I will not play for you this year," to the Packers front office. So, I mean, they only got a 1st and a 2nd round back for Adams, compared to what the Miami Dolphins got for, the Kansas City Chiefs got for Hill.
Yeah.
You got a 1, a 2, 2 4s, and a 6.
I think Adams is a better receiver than Hill is.
Overall, yeah, I think Hill is the guy who can just take the top off the defense.
He's a better playmaker, yeah, I agree.
I mean, but yeah, him and Waddle, that could be something right there. And then you have Gesicki, the big tight end. I like both trades for both guys.
I'm just sitting there like with Aaron Rodgers, like, dude, why are you coming back?
At this point, I'd say I'm retiring.
Right.
I mean, why?
Why are you going to come back and play with? Nobody.
He's like that picture at the end of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when he's standing in the living room all by himself because he's the only guy there.
That's a good picture. It really is.
Darius Smith leaves, supposedly signs with Baltimore, backs out, signs with division rival Minnesota Vikings. I don't know, Dave. Minnesota's starting to look a lot more appealing from the north to me.
And they got some playmakers. I mean, I don't know, man. I understand why Adams left because he wanted to go play with his college roommate and friend, and Vegas is a big thing. But this just makes
look at the Raiders' roster. I mean, Carr, Waller, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow.
Solid. They don't have defense. That division's going to literally turn into
first to 40 wins.
You have to score 28 points a game to win.
The Chargers, I will say, have added some big defensive names. They signed J.C. Jackson to a big contract. They go out, they trade for all-pro linebacker Khalil Mack from the Chicago Bears.
I think the Chargers, in my opinion, are the number 2 in that division. But I'm not as confident in Kansas City anymore.
I'm going in that division right now. I'm going Denver, Kansas City.
Do you think Denver has enough playmakers beside Wilson?
Yes.
Really?
Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Javonte Williams.
Yeah, but they lost.
Offensive line's okay.
Tight end though. That's what's.
They could draft one.
Yeah, they're gonna have to.
They're gonna have to. There's some nice tight ends coming.
I just don't believe they're number one. In my opinion, I think the Chargers are one now.
I don't.
Problem is they didn't add anything offensively for Justin Herbert.
They need a real running back. Austin Eckler's okay. They need a real running back.
Austin Eckler's more a receiving running back than anything. That's the problem.
But no, the receiver trades this week were crazy. 2 more quarterbacks get traded in the past week.
I don't know what more can happen. I think it's basically going to end now. I mean, there's a small... But I did see a list of, players that have not been signed. And I want to pull that up while we're in studio this morning. Because there are a lot of big names that are kind of at the end of their careers. There we go.
You have Stephon Gilmore.
So you got Tyrann Mathieu, OBJ, Stephon Gilmore, Dwayne Brown, who's an old tackle, Bobby Wagner, Davion Clowney still hasn't signed in Cleveland yet.
Where's Campbell? Oh, Calais Campbell.
Calais Campbell. Gronk still hasn't figured out what he's doing.
No, I heard, but from what Drew Rosenhaus said, it's Tampa Bay or bust.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is retiring.
And Jarvis Landry.
You know what? I was surprised when he got cut. The Steelers were on the phone with him. They knew they were bringing Juju back. A couple other teams, Atlanta wasn't on the phone with him with Calvin Ridley being suspended the whole year.
Right.
New England, they don't have a possession receiver.
There's some big names out there that are around the age of 30, getting up in their age and career, but still can produce.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how much money are you going to pay these older players. So, anything else NFL related?
Gotta get ready for the draft. We're doing a mock draft next week. I'm sure there'll be 15 to 25 screenshots sent in between me and you this week of mock drafts.
I might do one before we leave studio today.
I've been doing them like crazy at work and stuff on my lunch break.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's go into March Madness.
Nothing short of madness.
My bracket's been over since the first day. I was stupid.
I'm always funny opening weekend. I went to PPG to watch the first 2 games opening weekend, me and my father-in-law.
How did that feel, have to watch an Ohio State game right in front of you?
It wasn't bad. When you saw the matchup of 7 versus 10, you're thinking, this is going to be a great game. Most boring game of my life.
It was a very defensive game that neither team could score.
I think it was 28-17 at halftime.
Yeah.
It was Loyola's best player at halftime had 1 point. At the end of the game, they had 4 points.
We shut him down. That was big. We played well defensively.
But, everyone knew on, Sunday they were going to get trounced by Nova.
I was excited, though, that they stayed in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't mad about that. They stayed in the game. It was better, but... What was it like down there? I went down there a couple years ago. I think it was 2015.
Mind you, we're we were born and raised, just on the outskirts of the South Hills of Pittsburgh. So we were used to, seeing hockey games down that way. And this is nothing against the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is nothing against hockey guys. That arena was 1,000 times louder for 2 games I was at.
Yeah.
For college basketball, for teams not even around here.
Right.
One's out towards the Philadelphia way, one's across the border in Columbus. It was way louder for those games than it has ever been for a hockey game I've been to. And I've been to playoff games. I've been to regular season. I've been to preseason games.
Does that stem to the crowd that came in? You look at schools like Ohio State. There are probably a lot of people that made the drive from Columbus. It was on a Friday.
There was to me, the most colors I saw a lot of burgundy and gold for Loyola,
really?
And I saw a lot of blue and white for Villanova.
You didn't see a lot of scarlet and gray?
I saw some, not as much as I thought I would see.
Yeah.
But I saw the guy that always paints his face and wears the shirt that says the big nut. I saw him.
There?
Yeah, he was. He was down below. He sat. So we were right at the bottom of the upper bowl, which is where I prefer to sit.
Those aren't bad seats.
You can see the whole play, all the plays develop before it happens. You can see what everyone's running. You can see the defense if they're running.
Yeah, I set
triangle 2 or whatever.
I sat up there for the hockey game I went to this week on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So, similar to I think it was either your side where you sat or the other side.
But that's why I prefer to sit because you can see everything happen. But it was just twice as loud. And I'd hate to say it, if Pittsburgh were to ever get a basketball team,
I just don't know if that fame and fandom would go away real quick. with us
No.
never having one, would it always be there? I don't know.
I mean, imagine if Pitt was still what they were when Jamie Dixon was here. Competing for a top 1 or 2 seed in the bracket, being in the top 5, top 10 in the country.
You know what's weird, though, is like every time they host one, it's Duquesne as the host, not Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. But to get into March Madness, so opening weekend, I'm just going to read these teams that went down to you because a lot of people had them winning their brackets.
Well, you want to start with one of them? Iowa.
So
I had Iowa win my bracket.
I had a 2 seed Kentucky went down, a 1 seed Baylor went down, 2 seed Auburn went down, 5 seed Iowa went down, 5 seed UConn went down, and 3 seed Tennessee went down. All opening weekend.
I will say, after the opening weekend, I did kind of lose interest this weekend. I've been really busy. Yes, for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Not today. I might try to turn in some of these games today, but I did say from the beginning that it was going to be a lot of controversial teams in there. It wasn't going to be your true, stock chalk picks of 1s and 2s in the Final Four.
Your Kentuckys, your Kansases, your Dukes, your
I mean, and I did say that
Arizonas, Gonzagas.
I had North Carolina coming out close. I don't think I had them going to the Final Four.
They're playing today.
So, I mean, I think it is really cool that Duke made it for Coach K.
I do too. I think there's a legit shot they make the final. A really good shot.
Who do they play?
They're going to play either whoever wins the North Carolina St. Peter's game.
Oh, that's awesome. That'd be cool for North Carolina.
That's what I'm pulling for.
Well, but you think the rivalry game was scary for me because if we would have upset Villanova, we played Michigan's third round. Playing a rivalry game in March Madness is a complete different animal because you don't want to lose to them and they knock you out.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary. I wonder if St. Peter's run is over.
4 double-digit seeds survived and advanced to the Sweet 16. You had number 10 Miami, number 11 Michigan, number 11 Iowa State, and number 15 St. Peter's. I think I've read that ties an NCAA record.
Really?
And St. Peter's was the first to advance to the Elite 8, number 15 seed.
I mean, and I had all my money, not money, but I thought Purdue was going to make it. They were a solid team all year long.
I got in the studio a little bit before you today. I had the radio on when I was sitting in my car waiting for you to unlock because I don't have a key. Andrew Filipponi was talking on 93.7 The Fan.
Mm.
And I guess he was talking to somebody that was talking to some of the Purdue players, and they couldn't get it in their head all week that St. Peter's was that good of a team. That's what loses you games in the big dance.
That's why Kentucky lost to them. I mean,
that's why Kentucky lost them. That's why they beat Purdue. Who else did they beat? They beat Murray State. They were a 7 seed. I mean, some 7 seeds make the Sweet 16 and Elite 8.
Right.
That was a sound Murray State team. But I actually hit on a few March Madness board 3 times at work.
I didn't.
So
I think I haven't even looked to see if I've won at all.
My one friend at work does squares on one side's winners and one side's losers.
Yeah.
I hit twice in the first round, so I won $50 each game.
Nice.
And then I won again yesterday. Oh, not yesterday. Friday night. I hit for 100. So hopefully I hit again. But
I mean, it's been a great tournament to watch and to follow the lines. I mean, I'd love to see St. Peter's pull the upset again today.
Let's get into this debate for a little bit because I know we said we're going to run over an hour today just because
we just hit the hour mark. So
we haven't been together for 2 weeks because you had that in-home emergency last week. What is the greatest tournament played in America that we have to offer to the world? What is the greatest tournament?
What do you consider tournament?
Anything. NFL playoffs, NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, March Madness, college football playoff. I mean,
in my opinion, it's March Madness number 1.
To me, it's March Madness number 1.
I don't know what
clear cut.
I couldn't tell you what a number 2 is.
I'm going to go Stanley Cup playoff. You never know what you're going to get. Look at that one year. You had the 8 seed Kings going all the way, swept the number 1 seed, beat the number 2 seed, in 5 games, and then beat the number 3 seed in 6 games.
I mean, the inconsistency in the you're not guaranteed like Super Bowl. You're always the hype more is, I would say, Super Bowl is number 2, and college football playoffs number 3 because of the hype, and then I'd probably say Stanley Cup playoffs is number 4. It's definitely not the MLB right now.
Well, that extension that might help a little bit.
Maybe.
Playing all those games, you only get 6 teams in. That's
it sucks.
Disgusting.
But it has to be March Madness. I mean, every year there's always some craziness, and like you try to predict it, you try to pick an upset in your bracket, and that upset doesn't happen, and another one happens. It's just.
Well, that's like I talk to people, and they think they know what they're talking about, and they're like, "Oh, this number 1 seed should win. This number 2 seed should win." And I'm like, "Do you know what it takes to win this tournament? Do you know what it really takes?"
It takes right here. Mind.
It takes
mind and heart.
It takes mental strength.
Yep, mental strength.
It takes a bunch of different personalities in that locker room, guys that are all in with each other.
And it takes a lot of conditioning strength because you got to play back-to-back games in 48 hours.
It takes a bounce, a call, an injury. It takes luck with injuries.
I mean, look at that. I remember I was watching last week in the Baylor-North Carolina game. I mean, Baylor almost came back because that kid from North Carolina got thrown out of the game.
Manic.
Yeah. I mean, that was the real reason why that game got close again, because he wasn't out there.
I thought Baylor was going to come back and win it.
Oh, I was so nervous because I had North Carolina win that game. But it's just, I don't know, I love March Madness. I love it to watch it. Hurts as a person because you try to predict it and then you lose, and it's like, whatever.
I mean, and the reason why I think it's so great is you have the big guys, you have the little guys, you have the teams no one's really ever heard of.
Yeah.
How many years have we saw where a little guy makes it to the Final Four?
Right.
Butler made it to 2 straight national championships, losing to Duke and then to UConn. The Kimbo Walker team.
Yeah, I'd love to see St. Peter's make it in, but it's also cool that North Carolina's an 8 seed and they're going to make it in, maybe. So, I don't see Miami beating Kansas today.
I'd like to. I have them in a Sweet 16 poll at work. But, who knows? I mean...
And both games are what, next Saturday?
And then I think the championship's on Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Monday. But, I don't know, it always goes too fast. You think you get to enjoy it. I remember, when we were in high school, I'd fake sick and go home early just so I could, watch all the games that opening weekend.
Well, I had my senior year, I had Colby Parada, honors calculus. It was 6th period. And we'd watch. He always would say those 2 days was our free days of the year. We'd come in and watch hoops on the screen. Mm-hmm. It was a great time. But, yeah, I mean, March Madness, craziness. But not as crazy as this weather out there. Screwing it. We can talk about a little bit of my high school recap so far. I mean, we got our season started on Friday. We played Ringgold. Took a loss, 15-4. Had some good positives in there. Had a girl step up for an injury, and she went 2 for 2. Had my freshman first baseman hit the ball very hard a couple times. She had a nice hit. She had a couple nice flyouts as well. We struggled on the mound a little bit. We're going to fix it this week. We had a practice yesterday morning, and we sat and watched film because they live streamed the game. So they sat and watched film and went through their stats and saw some things that they didn't do as well. And so we'll see. I mean, the nice thing is that we need some time internally to fix some things.
Mm-hmm.
So this
probably to get that over this week because it's
snowing
outside today. First full week in the spring, and we have probably about an inch of snow outside.
So which is nice because it's going to give us a chance to kind of fix some things up a little bit. We're supposed to play 4 games this week. I'll be lucky to play 1. But then next week looks like
now.
Yeah, tarp's on the field. We'll see. But next week looks a lot better, so we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Interesting year for sakes. There are some high moments, and we just got to capitalize on our mistakes and get better on our weaknesses.
Win your winnable games.
Well, and
that's the big thing.
And right now we're in a grind. I mean, we have to. The hardest thing when you're in season, you're starting playing games, is you want to fix things in week.
Mm-hmm.
But if we would have played all 4 games this week, today was typically we were supposed to go to Pitt. I was taking the team down. They were playing Virginia Tech in a game at noon.
Mm-hmm.
So it was still an on day. Tomorrow we were in a practice, Tuesday game, Wednesday practice, play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I mean, that's a grind. So I already mentally prepared, like, tomorrow's practice was going to be light, Wednesday's practice was going to be light because of the games in between. And that's the hardest thing is you got to come in and you got to try to fix things, but you can't go crazy for 2 hours and push them because then you need them tomorrow. So that's what we got to kind of manage, a little bit of the load and different things. So we'll see. It should be an interesting next 2 weeks trying to get, we start section play. Supposed to open up against Carmichael's on Tuesday. Play Best Center Wednesday or Thursday and get into, we have some non-section games throughout, but
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
And then next week, I know we're bringing a guest in, to make our announcement we already made on our Facebook page.
Yep. We're going to talk a little bit more. We are going to do a porch tour this summer. We're going to get some more details worked out this week. Expect more of the information next week, but we're going to talk mainly between the weeks of Memorial Day to Labor Day is what we talked about this morning.
Yeah, that's going to be our schedule. We don't want to be out there in May when it's only 55 degrees outside. We want to wait till it's hopefully we're in the steady 70s until the end of summer.
And I will say, in this porch tour, and we'll talk about more. And I'll put this little caveat at the end today as we're finishing up. I want to see who can make the best food for us. Let's have a nice meal, like whether it's meat, steaks or something, or great time to get outside, eat some hamburgers or eat some good summer food.
Yeah, and this isn't just to have us on to record or whatever. You guys could be having a party or whatever. Dave and I are looking into buying some actual headsets and getting rid of still having this big mic when we record it actually in our studio. But we're looking into getting some headsets, and it doesn't have to be a porch. It can be a patio. It can be poolside.
Yeah.
We want to get to know you guys better. And
it's really trying to get the listening numbers of our podcast a little higher. Mm-hmm. And trying to get our name out there a little more and get some more things out there. So, but more to come next week. So we're going to talk about NFL mock draft. Hopefully I can get a little
mock draft next week. We're going to do our official porch tour announcement next weekend.
Yep. Get a little bit of softball talk going on. If we get the guests that I want to, hopefully I can bring his daughter on. They can talk because they're currently coming home from Gatlinburg. They went down there and played at a spring training trip. So I'd hear a little bit more about that. And we can finish with the March Madness because it'll be right in between Final Four and the championship. And we'll move on.
Who do you like today before we wrap up?
Give me Kansas and give me North Carolina. I think St. Peter's run will finally finish. But again, who knows? It'd be cool to see a 15 seed. Have they ever made the Final Four?
No, this is the first time ever making the Elite Eight, a 15 seed. So I'm gonna go with Carolina. I'd rather see St. Peter's, but I'm gonna go with Carolina because I'm a Duke guy. Yeah. This is really nice for me to see Coach K's swan song him making the Final Four one last time. But it'd be awesome for him to wrap up in the Final Four, beating North Carolina, and then maybe beating Kansas in the final, the team that's won the most NCAA tournament games.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see.
It'll be interesting. But for Brennan and for Dave, I hope you enjoyed our little bit longer podcast. I am going to try to segment some things today and put some second marks in to talk about our different topics. So if you want to fast forward and listen to our NFL talk, or you want to fast forward and listen to our March Madness talk, I'm going to try a couple things in the comments or in the description section in our YouTube video today. So, for Brandon and for Dave, we hope you enjoyed our episode, and we will see you next week.
All right, Dave, we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you do not already, please make sure you go and follow us on Facebook at Limitless Sports with Brennan and Dave. And hopefully, we can get our Apple Podcasts up soon, so that will also be on Apple Podcasts. But you can find us on Dave's YouTube channel just by searching Limitless Sports with the hashtag, and go ahead and create more followers for us and more subscribers. Hope you enjoy.